This is When the Fuck Did I Become Old? The fun, edgy and unapologetically honest podcast about the experiences of aging, where, as the title suggests, nothing is off the table. And I'm Jo Parker, your host.
And I'm Kev. And this week we're going to be talking about Mental Health Awareness Week, because that's just finished. The 11th to 17th of May was Mental Health Awareness Week in the UK. And that's a national campaign run by the Mental Health Foundation. Their theme this year around mental health is action, where they're actually trying to encourage people to take practical steps for their own well-being and to support others.
Right.
And we have been taking quite a lot of action this week. So let's talk about the action that we've been taking this week in support of that mental health theme.
Yeah. So on Friday, the 15th of May, which is last Friday, we went to a ball that one of my friends organised. And actually, remarkably, I don't know whether you know this, but he didn't do any of it on social media. He phoned every single person, and he got over 400 people at the Intercontinental Hotel in London to support the charity Stop, Breathe, Think. Now, this particular charity is for younger generations. It's for 8 to 21-year-olds mainly. It is a charity for those that cannot afford to have counselling help. And those, their belief is that no one should have to go on a list and wait for mental health help. Because when you need it now. So that's what they were doing. That's what they're doing. They're raising funds in order to have counsellors that are available online at the end of the phone when you need them, regardless of whether or not you can afford it or not. So that was a charity that we went to on Friday.
And then it turned out that they were also affiliated to another charity.
Well, a guy that set the charity up.
Set up Snow Camp.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually mention this necessarily in the introduction, but we have got a tagline on the social media about mental health awareness. What the fuck's that got to do with snowboarding and motorbikes? But snowboarding is one of the things that Snow Camp do. So Snow Camp use snow sports, skiing and snowboarding as vehicles to both develop life skills in younger people, but also to help them deal with mental health issues through a combination of both engaging in the sport, well-being sessions that are provided, and also one-to-one support.
And take action, but also then gives them a skill set to maybe go and work in the snow industry and ski.
So we supported that charity, made some donations as well at the ball, and so we were definitely supporting that whole thing. And in fact, I'm potentially talking to them about whether I can get involved in the snowboarding side.
So that's another story. That's another story.
So that was one thing we were up to this week in Mental Health Awareness Week. And then another thing was on the 17th, I did the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. And we've done that, the two of us before, but this year it was just me.
Well, you were with a bunch of blokes. It wasn't quite the same as just you and I going.
We'll get on to how that came about. But what is the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride? Because a lot of you probably have never heard of it, so it's probably worth explaining what that is. So it's a worldwide event that takes place every single year. Its purpose is to raise funds for prostate cancer research and men's mental health in partnership with Movember.
Yeah.
It's a themed ride, right? So the whole point of the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride is
you are a distinguished gentleman.
It's themed around retro bikes, classic bikes, and people dressing up in vintage outfits.
Yeah.
So it's quite a theatrical kind of experience, right? And the idea is that you register for one of the rides, and the rides, by the way, take place all over the world on the same day. On the exact same day. So the rides were in over 1,100 cities this year, in over 120 countries.
Wow.
And they had over 120,000 people register to ride.
Wow.
And then once you've registered, then you have to get on the sponsorship going and raise some funds yourself.
Yeah.
So I raised about £500 roughly. And the ride that I did was the Guildford ride. So it was the Guildford and Surrey Hills Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. And that ride has raised just about 100 grand so far. I think there's some more yet to come in, but it's just under 100 grand when I checked last night.
Brilliant.
And we have 1,392 riders.
So that makes you the biggest?
I think it's the second biggest in the world. So we checked some of the stats, and the only one I could find in the world that was bigger than that this year was Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires had over 2,000 riders registered. There was nothing in North America bigger than Guildford. There was nothing in the UK. There was nothing in Europe. And I couldn't find anything in Asia that was bigger than the Guildford ride either. So so that was a lot of fun, and that was a really unique experience and a great way to, again, raise funds to support the charities for mental health. But there's a bit of a backstory to how I came to do the gentleman's ride with 4 or 5 guys this year.
But last year
it was just you and me.
Discover it last year? I can't remember.
I think we just came across it on social media, and you and I just went on our own, and we didn't know anybody there, and we had the first time we'd ever been, the whole thing. But I actually ended up riding with 4 or 5 people this year because after last year's one, we'd actually been to a variety of parties last summer where it was coming of age with a number of our peer group, right? So we've been to a couple of 60th birthday parties.
Because it's not 18 then, or 21.
No. Coming of age in my terms. So we had 2 60th birthday parties, big parties, right, with like 100 plus people. And then there was another summer party at somebody else's house. So we went through 3 really big parties in the space of about 6 to 8 weeks. And unusually for us, these were events with people of our own age group.
Yeah, there were.
And the reason I say unusually is that we don't really have many friends of our age group, right? And I mean, certainly if I think about myself, and we talked about friendship in a couple of weeks back. We had a thing about friendship and how important it is.
Friends my age, but they're not in this area. So they're back from school days. Well,
exactly. Yeah. So they have from previous connections, right? So I started, if I look back on why, if I ask myself the question, why haven't I got that many friends of my age? So I started to edit my own social circle from about the age of 30.
I was going to say, some of it got edited for you, though, divorce.
Well, we'll come on to that. Yeah. But I started to edit my social circle from the age of 30 because I wasn't doing the things people of that age did.
Having babies.
They were having babies, getting married. I wasn't doing that. So I was going snowboarding and riding motorbikes and stuff, and they weren't.
So you had to shift down in age, didn't you?
Yeah. So from the from the age of 30, I had to downshift, and I had to find friends who were like 25,
right,
and weren't getting married, and So honest to God, that's what happened. And so through my 30s, I had a social circle that was always 5 to 8 years younger than me.
Wow.
Because all the people that I'd been to uni with or whatever at that age group, they'd all started to get married, have kids, and none of them were doing it. They weren't going to gigs. They weren't going on across California on a Harley or anything particularly exciting. And so that was the beginning of me kind of like moving down the age ladder.
Right.
Now, then, as you mentioned, you do eventually get married. I did eventually get married, have kids, blah, blah, blah. They go to school. And all of a sudden you end up with a whole kind of dad's network at school, right? Yeah. So all of a sudden you have another vehicle to re-engage with adults, as it were. And so you acquire a whole bunch of dads from school.
But they're also a little bit younger than you anyway, because you did children late.
Yeah, but where I was in like Wandsworth, they weren't actually too much younger, because there was quite a lot of city folk living there who were like having later babies, essentially. Okay. So you acquired a kind of a new social network. But then post-divorce, as you say, that all disappeared. Yeah. That absolutely just collapsed in a heap. and even though I tried to sustain some of those relationships, that network was lost, right? Yeah. So then you go, well, okay, what else have I got? Well, there's work, right? And I did have people at work who were my age for many, many years. Not anymore.
Because they've all gone.
They've all gone. So everybody who I used to work with 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, gone. And I am now the oldest person at work.
Right.
And so there's nobody there either. So
this becomes really important then,
right.
It?
So to the point about the friendship thing and having friends as you get older, when we went to these parties last summer, we suddenly met people of our age, which was a weird thing for me.
And how does that tie in with the distinguished gentleman's right?
I'm going to get that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, hurry up.
So this is important because generally speaking, even when I met people of my age, I didn't actually identify with them.
We've been there. Yeah, we
because I don't identify with my own demographic.
Yeah.
But we met a bunch of people last summer at a variety of these functions where you go, actually, they're not old. Like, they're actually quite youthful, right? And they're quite active, and they're interested in the same sort of stuff as us.
Yeah.
And so we had a variety of couples that we met in these different parties where we were like, actually, we must get in touch with them. We must go for a drink with them. And that was actually quite a transformative experience last summer, to meet people that were my own age, that you go, actually, I wouldn't mind hanging out with some of these people. And so we got a bit busy in the autumn. We didn't quite honour some of those promises, but eventually there was one couple we managed to go to lunch with in November.
Yes.
And there was another couple we had dinner with in the spring.
Yeah.
Right. And then there were a couple of guys who I spoke to last year about this DGR thing, Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. They had motorbikes. They were like, oh, that sounds great. We'd like to do it. So when I was thinking about going on the ride this year, I thought, well, okay, I'll try and get in touch, and I'll try and see if they're interested. And got some initial responses that were, I'm interested, great. Then nothing really happened. Tried to get a few of them together for a drink. That was let's do it. And then, like, within the week leading up to the drink, no, we're busy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you find yourself literally as if you're 13 at school, right? Where you go, you're being vulnerable, you're trying to make friends.
Yeah.
But you're getting knocked back. The kind of thing that you get at school, right? And now, when you're doing that as a full-grown adult, right? Yeah. You kind of feel a bit embarrassed about that. You go, I don't want to look too needy. I don't want to go. Please go for a drink with me. So after the drink thing sort of fell off, and yet the ride was a couple of weeks away, I was thinking, well,
we decided that if they weren't going to come, I would come with you.
Right. So I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to go chasing this because, but then a couple of them came back to me of their own accord. Like, so where are we meeting?
Yeah.
When are we going? Now, in the end, there were 5 of us. I thought it was going to be 3. Turned out there was 5 of us. And we all had retro classic bikes, and we were all dressed up to the nines in our vintage clothing. And we went and did the ride together, and we actually had a great time.
So one of the things you did report back about your interaction with them is that actually, and it's the same thing when we're talking about, this is the mental health awareness is about action, is that when you walk side by side with somebody, you talk. And you were doing the same thing with the riding, weren't you? You're riding side by side and you were having
so we had a number of conversations both at the event and on the bikes, etc. But we had a number of conversations with guys that I didn't know that well.
You're not moving very fast, so you can't have a
number of conversations with guys that I didn't know that well to begin with. But at the end of the day, some deep conversations had taken place, and some deeper connections had been formed, right? And it was stuff where you think, well, okay, if I just met this person in a pub, they wouldn't have told me that stuff, right?
But is there something about not having the eye contact as well? And so, like, you're riding along Guildford High Street, takes about an hour to get out. Some of it we were
stationary for, and there was eye contact. But I think it's more about the activity thing. Okay. Right? I think for men in particular, right? I think it's about the fact that men will unite around an activity.
Okay.
Right. Now, I don't like football. I don't like cricket. I don't like rugby. So that's not going to be an activity for me, right? But men do unite around activities. And then when you're uniting around an activity, somehow that provides a social glue. That provides a social glue, which enables you to have conversations. Yeah. So I am very pleased to say we had a fab time, and I was really surprised actually at the depth and resonance of some of the conversations with some of the guys. Yeah. So that's just I share that story because we talked previously about the concept of friendship being important, right? Yeah. And this is an example of how if you go out of your own comfort zone, right, to try and generate friendships, right, it can be a positive experience for you, right? It's a bit painful. You have to push yourself a bit hard, right? But absolutely came back. And now, I mean, there was me going into that event thinking, oh, maybe I've forced this a bit. Maybe I've kind of like bullied them into coming on the ride with me or whatever. But by the end of the event, it was other people in the group going, oh, should we set up a WhatsApp? Well, let's do a WhatsApp group. Brilliant. Let's create one, and like we can go for rides together. I mean, which I thought was just like magic. Oh my God, like they want to go for a ride with me. Yeah, it's amazing. So, I'm a
little bit jealous. I need to do something like that. Oh, it's not fair.
So that's just a little thing about, you can do something both for yourself and others to create friendships, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a bit scary, but go for it. Anyway, back to the action plan for mental health on a wider scale.
Yeah. So what did last week's Mental Health Awareness Week actually say we could do?
Right. So the Mental Health Foundation, who organised the whole thing, have actually got a really helpful and specific set of like top 10 tips,
which we've got here,
which we've dropped here, and we're going to share with you, right?
Yeah.
Of things that you can do to support both your own mental health and the mental health of others. So we're going to go through a quick top 10 of fantastic ideas of things you can do to
lift your mood and improve your ability to cope with life.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do the first one on their top 10. Okay. Top 10 actions for good mental health. Number 1, plan something to look forward to. Now, I've just been talking about that.
Yeah.
So making plans gives you, we talked about this when we talked about memories before, didn't we?
Yeah.
We talked about the fact that having something to look forward to, just psychologically, is a positive thing, right? Because having something to look forward to gives you a sense of optimism for the future. Having nothing to look forward to is the opposite.
Yeah.
Right. So having something to look forward to is good for your mental health. And it doesn't matter whether it's something trivial, like sitting down for a cup of tea and just having a rest, or whether it's something bigger, like a trip or some sort of social outing, or an achievement of some sort that you're striving for. But planning something to look forward to is tip number 1, because, as I say, looking to the future with a sense of desire and a sense of longing, that's a positive thing.
Yeah. Number 2, eat well. So one of the simplest ways to improve mental health is by eating a healthy, balanced diet, which is not always as simple as it sounds, because there is a tendency to sort of like rush into sugary snacks to make yourself to boost yourself. Having done that in the past, it has that, immediate effect of boosting you. But then when you drop down and the lows are lower than if you actually balanced your diet.
So you've recently started a regime. I don't know what its name is, but
well, there is a regime, and that's I'm going to be introducing my hormone and nutritionalist coach in a podcast next week. No, the week after next, I think it is, soon, in the next couple of weeks, that's helping me balance myself. So it's maintaining, rather than doing the sugar spikes or the cortisol spikes or anything like that, but maintaining my mood. It's rather than dips and peaks and troughs and stuff like that. So I am living the balanced eating well lifestyle now and not having so many troughs.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
And number 3, get closer to nature.
All right.
Spending time in nature can boost your mood, lessen stress, and help you concentrate. So that's their tip.
Yeah.
Now, funnily enough, you're also on a regime at the moment of going for a daily walk, aren't you?
So part of the health thing that I'm doing is I've got to walk 8,000 steps a day.
And apart from trying to find the time of the day to do it, how does it feel when you are out there?
Well, I only take my phone with me to measure my steps rather than anything else, so I don't get involved in tech. So it does feel good. It does feel better when I go into the woods rather than walk around the local estate. So I walk into town and get a newspaper and walk back is not the same as actually walking into the woods. Okay. So
cool. Number 4.
So number 4 is get good sleep. Okay, so anybody who knows me knows that my sleep is not that good, and it's still not that good, and I'm addressing that, and that's again back into the episode that's coming in a couple of weeks' time. It's like how I'm doing that. But I can tell you from personal experience, if you don't get a good night's sleep, you are fucked. Honestly, at the end of the week, by Friday, if I ever had very bad sleep, I can't do anything, and I'm not in the mood for it. I'm quite tearful as well, so I can't cope with things very well. And then, of course, we take the old, natural homeopathic sleeping pills for Friday and Saturday. Catch up with myself. That's no way to live. Right. But it kind of balances it all out. So I can't really tell you what a good night's sleep does for you. I can only tell you what not getting one does. Right. So I can say, absolutely. I would imagine it is very good for your mental health, but it's also good for your health as well.
And number 5, get creative. So spending time on creative activities is a great way to help ease stress and anxiety. Carve out some time either to listen to music, paint, sing, do something creative. Now, I haven't started this yet, but I have been set a creative challenge.
Yeah.
So I was set a creative challenge by a friend of mine.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy, to learn 3 songs on my guitar by September.
All right.
At a good enough level that when he comes over, and he sort of threatened me with, he's going to come over and we're going to hire a studio.
We found you a drummer as well.
Well, yes, we found a guy at the ball who's prepared to volunteer to be our drummer. So I'm a bit shitting myself about this one, actually, because I am really terrible at my guitar. But yeah, I do have a creative project with a finite deadline.
Yeah.
And I've only got about 3 or 4 months left to go.
So has it helped your well-being, or has it just made you shit yourself?
Currently, it's just made me shit myself. But I do get, but I am looking forward to actually being able to play my guitar.
But I was
at a
you
level
do
that
get
I'm not
joy.
embarrassing.
You do get joy when you've mastered a song as well.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, well, you don't do it very often. So.
But yes, that's next 4 months. I need to get that creative thing nailed.
Yeah. So number 6 is move regularly. Now I do that. I'm now, as we've just discussed, out every day doing up to 8,000 steps a day, because I do actually consider some of the other things I do as towards that.
And you're doing yoga?
And I do strength, and I do yoga, and I do Pilates, and I do find, and I do a morning Zoom class as well with my mate Ali. So I do find that definitely raises these what's the word? Dopamine. Endorphins. Thank you very much. It definitely raises the endorphins. And I actually did that with Emmanuel during her GCSEs when she was massively stressed. I would take her away from her revision, get her out of the house, take her down to the gym, and make us cycle like crazy for a minute 3 times. And that just changes the mood, because you actually, all your serotonin and all your not your dopamine, but all your endorphins just hit, and it changes the mood, takes the stress away. And in fact, you can't breathe either because you're doing it properly. So that was high intensity training. So movement does actually help the mood for sure.
Cool. Number 7, try mindfulness. That's more about presenteeism, isn't it? Being present in the moment. And being able to actually enjoy the experience of whatever it is you're doing at that point in time, which is something that I'm better at than you are. Yeah. Because you remain preoccupied about things while you're doing something. And then the number of times I catch you and I go, no, how now? How does that feel now? Yeah. Because you're off away. I
think that's a lot of being self-employed, though. You never really turn off.
Right. So finding a way, and obviously there's lots of different ways to do that, whether that's meditation or breathing techniques, or but there's lots of ways to try and be present in the moment and just enjoy the sensory sound, body scans, those sorts of things. Yeah. Touching grass, they talk about that. Barefoot on grass outside, being present in nature, the sound of wind, the sound, the
when I do hot
leaves.
yoga, I'm present. I can't actually think about anything else except the hot yoga and how difficult
just
it is.
surviving hot yoga is enough of a
but
challenge.
I'm present in it very much. I can't think of anything else.
Fair enough. So there you go. Number 7, mindfulness.
Number 8. Make time for friends. So you've touched on this and having the power of having good friendships, but then of course in this busy life it's actually making time for them. So because there's no point having a list of friends that you don't see. So making time for them, spending time with them is really good.
But interestingly, the point that the Mental Health Foundation makes about the friendship thing, and it does sort of hook into 2 things, is they talk about either sharing an experience with a friend, which again we've talked about before, or about receiving emotional support. Yeah. So like, it's not just friends for friends' sake. No. It's like friendship where either you genuinely share an experience together, which is of some value to you, or you can contribute emotionally to each other. And we talked a bit about this when we were talking about your social circle and during that, and reviewing who do I get emotional, warmth from and support from. So yeah, there you go. That's your friends thing.
Thank you.
Number 9, be kind. So this is not just about being kind.
No.
To be fair, it's about gratitude
Being kind
more
to
than
yourself.
just being kind. Yeah, it's about being kind to yourself and being appreciative of the things that you have, and being appreciative of even small moments.
You're really good at that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I do try.
I'm terrible.
Yeah, you are. But I try to help you.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I try to help you.
absolutely.
So yes, kindness, gratitude, totally, absolutely good for the soul, 110%.
Yeah, absolutely. And then number 10, talk things over with someone you trust. Now, they say here, it can take a lot of courage to tell someone else how we're feeling or what we're finding hard. Just talking things through with a person we trust can feel like a relief and make us feel less alone. I find it incredibly difficult to talk deep,
People.
meaningful things over with people and to expose myself.
Even with your girlfriends.
Yeah, properly deep, meaningful.
Right.
There's only a few people I can do that with. Yeah, and it actually, but mainly because I just don't go there with myself.
Right, okay.
So,
you don't give yourself permission to
no.
have those
No,
conversations.
no. And that's because, as we will find out in my session coming with my hormone and nutritionist specialist, that is actually, I've been in survival mode for a long time.
Right.
So, as a single parent and running my own business, there isn't time to turn around and touch the dark spaces that might be lurking, that might take me down, and I might not be able to function. So, yeah, I can't relate to that very much.
Okay.
Can you?
Can I? Yes. I mean, I don't have. Well, okay. I do have some concerns in my life at this point in time. I've definitely spoken to you about them.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
But no, in the past, if I go back to 8-9 years ago, absolutely had massively deep conversations of a soul-searching nature with a couple of very close friends of mine who I've known for like 30 odd years, which those guys absolutely saw me through.
Yeah.
Like they probably got fed up actually.
It's every time they saw you.
Yeah, like
Just don't ask me how I am, because I'll tell you.
Don't go around to Kev's for a cup of coffee, because
You'll never
you're going to be listening for hours and you're going to hear the same shit he moaned about last week. But no, I mean, that stuff was hugely valuable to me at the time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've done similar. I have done similar.
You
actually.
have, you have done that. You're very good at that.
So, so there you go. That's the top 10 tips from the Mental Health Foundation for.
And they don't suggest that you do all 10 of them.
No. Think of this as a portfolio. It's a portfolio of options, right, that are available to you if you need to do something to boost your mental health.
Or not just your own.
It's not a competition.
Health. No, and it's not
competition.
just yours. It's
or you can support
friends.
friends.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
there is so much of it at the moment. I mean, we're going through incredibly tough times that people don't necessarily talk. So get out, walk side by side, cycle side by side, ride a horse side by side, and talk. I think, and move in some shape or form.
Yeah, cool. So that's Mental Health Awareness Week, which pretty much brings us to a wrap.
Yeah, it does.
And we'll be back again next week with something completely different. Cheers.